So, Pwned 14th Anywhere But Here update is releasing in about 3 days from the studio's release, and there's one burning question I have. Who is the quote-unquote secret, already revealed entity? Hence why I'm making this somewhat comprehensive video going over the evidence or lack thereof every entity has towards being the secret entity anywhere but here. Even though realistically speaking, only 2 entities are feasible candidates for that spot, more than likely. So I'm gonna explain the other 6, which aren't as likely, very quickly. Oh, and I'm skipping batch 2 killers since they are effectively out of the running for this. So, with that preamble done, let's begin. While none of these 5 are in a position where they literally can't be the killer, considering the fact that these 5 all don't have basically any evidence pointing towards them, makes it really unlikely in my eyes that any of them are the entity in question. The influence and content deleted are definitely a lot more likely than Spirit of the Beast and Swagman, I'd say. But I wouldn't count on either being the entity, due to the lack of real evidence, unless you want to count the crack theory of the Pwned 14 logo and Anywhere But Here's trailer being the influence's color palette. Which is really funny, but probably not intentional. Okay, even though Bartender's not as likely as a certain other 2, and he's not my personal prediction, I do want to say that there is a decent amount of weight to the entity being Bartender, considering the fact that 175 pledge gold for Gunhound's plush was all of Bartender's team outside of a low HP one since it wasn't done yet. And it makes sense for him to tease something that big for an entity releasing relatively soon. And B, that'll line up for being a badge skin that you could get on release of Anywhere But Here. Even though realistically it's probably talking about a Stalker skin or Sean, but I'd still think it's relevant to mention. Although, Bartender does have a point against him, and the fact that his moveset is, I don't know if it's 100% true or not, so take it with a huge grain of salt, too complex for the pre-rewrite Pwned 14. Which, if this is true, then I think it just entirely kills him being Anywhere But Here, but I don't 100% have an image, like, proving that. So, take it with, like, a slight amount of salt. Something important to consider, and what makes me think Sean has such a huge chance to be the entity, is the fact that Anywhere But Here is, for the most part, seemingly focused on Eye as a face walls. Considering both survivors are directly tied to the series, and the fact JX1 is going to get a new moveset, and even the fact that Crash Dummy is inheriting GX1's moveset makes them more indirectly tied to the series, even though, you know, not related at all. It just... Crash Dummy happens to be kind of related to JX1 in terms of the moveset. And while Sean isn't from Eye as a Face Laws, he still serves an important role in that series and would definitely serve to tie something together as a heavily Eye as a Face Laws based one. However, there's still one more entity I think is a little bit more likely to be the one that the quote-unquote secret one. Killer Kyle is definitely my pick for who I think the entity is in Anywhere But Here, and I'll go over all the evidence pointing towards him. 1. A recent Pwned teaser showcased a projectile that is really fast and not impacted by gravity, which reasonably speaking only makes sense to be from a secret entity, since both new characters we know of with a projectile either don't line up with the projectile's movement or the center bar's size. Also, apparently the shadow of a censored object aligns with Killer Kyle's knife, but I don't see it personally. This on its own isn't enough though. I could see a good argument for say Sean maybe having a move like this, or just being a part of a skill builder. Moving on, since, well, Killer Kyle has a decent amount of evidence to him, that's more direct than say just like being tied to Ian's baseball heavily, or like just like a hunch based on how things have been sneak peeked. 2. The map tied to Killer Kyle, California Woods, I think that's how it's pronounced, is seemingly releasing with this update. I'm pretty sure that's what the map in this part of the trailer is, which, like, do I even need to say anything on that? 3. The entity releasing in this update has, quote-unquote, had a change of plans regarding their previous place in the roadmap. Killer Kyle's the only entity that directly lines up with this description. As we know of, it could very well have just been like, oh, behind the scenes in the developer linked roadmap. Like say Sean was intended to be like, mid-batch 1, but he's getting moved to, like, start of batch 1. Because, like, just different circumstances. However, with publicly known information, this seems to point towards it being Killer Kyle. 4. Killer Kyle chasing being in the OST Volume 2 is a little bit suspicious to me. Like, I understand that it makes sense to some extent due to chasing being present in GIMP servers with Blank C Killer Kyle, but why not just wait until he's fully implemented? Presumably by Volume 3's release, if he isn't, you know, it's releasing with the dump date instead. I think, realistically speaking, that would make more sense instead of just like, oh, he's in a GIMP server now, send it into the OC playlist, even though it's not really effectively in-game. So, like, there's definitely a reason why it's in the OST currently, instead of him just waiting until Volume 3 if Killer Kyle isn't the entity. But I think it is definitely suspicious that they did this. It should be like, hey, wait a minute. And, like, you know, not ignored. Those four reasons are why I personally believe the secret entity is Killer Kyle. However, I wouldn't be shocked if I end up being wrong, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens in 3 days when the Name of Here releases. What makes this difficult is that there really isn't too much evidence for any given character. Like, Killer Kyle and Sean definitely have, like, the most going for them because, one being tied directly to IVA face laws, and then update it's, like, you know, very focused on IVA face laws, right? And then Killer Kyle just having, like, a lot of miscellaneous things that kind of build up. Like, both of them I can see very well being the killer. Like, hell, even before, like, thinking about it at, like, a more deeper scale, I immediately realized that Sean is definitely, like, up there in one of the more likely entities and to be part of anywhere but here. But some things like this killer had to change the plans regarding their previous place in the roadmap. Like, that is probably the main thing that, like, tipped me over the edge of, okay, it more than likely just is Killer Kyle. But, I mean, who knows? We'll see in, like, 3 days. You know, it's a shame I don't have any Pwned by 14 footage and have to use, like, null screen background footage. Because, like, I really like playing Pwned from time to time. But I don't play it much, and I don't, like, ever record it, because it's, like, very much something that you have to play in short bursts in the current state. Well, I would say that if it wasn't, you know, like, dead because of, you know, they're closing it for, ABH. But I don't even know really why I'm rambling. That's all I have to say. I'll probably be making Pwned content in terms of, like, the character reviews, YouTube shorts. If people didn't already feel the niche for it, I would have done nullscape stuff, but that niche is kind of already filled. So now I have to get sent to Super Hell and I have to play Pwned by 14. Which, I mean, hey, anywhere but here might fix the core issues of the game that make it, like, genuinely kind of hard to play right now. But we'll just have to see. 3 days.